Begonia plant propagation. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to successfully propagate angel wing begonias. This is super easy and will cost you next to nothing to create additional plants from your existing begonias. There are about 2,000 different types of begonias. Of those 2,000, I grow two in my house near Seattle, Washington. I grow a Rex begonia of the red heart or red kiss variety. I am by no means an expert in telling all these apart, but this is for sure a Rex begonia and most likely one of those two types. I also grow angel wing begonias. Now the Rex begonias are shorter and they grow in clumps. The angel wing begonias grow long vines that can reach 12 feet long with individual leaves that can be 9 inches or more. For this video, I'm going to be working with the angel wing begonias. With the cutting method, it can be a bit scary and sad the first few times you do it because you have to damage or potentially destroy your existing plant. But rest assured that when done properly, you will end up with as many plants as you want to have around your house and to use as gifts for family and friends. Now, previously, I did an experiment on the effect of nodes on angel wing begonia propagation. I wanted to test the common belief that each cutting has to have a node in order to successfully propagate it. A node is a joint that exists in the shoots of the angel wing begonia and other types of plants. One shoot will have several nodes. In the angel wing begonia, those nodes are spaced a few inches to half an inch apart. Now, what I found in my testing is that the cuttings with 0 nodes failed to take root at all. Those that had 2 or 3 nodes had some level of success, but the single node cuttings performed the best. Here's a look back at a few of the experimental plants and what they look like today. So let's start by looking at cuttings that I did in what I'll call the bathroom plant. It started as a mix of single and double node cuttings, and I put a larger cutting in here that had a few leaves. And this was really sloppy propagation. I tore the cuttings by hand. I didn't even try and cut them. And I just shoved them in the pot, didn't care where the nodes were in relation to anything. So very sloppy in how I did this. But let's look at it 18 months later. Now, a few of the leaves are missing because I was lazy and watering it from time to time, but overall, it's a very healthy plant. What started out as 5 cuttings is now 10 shoots because these begonias will actually propagate on their own over time. Not very quickly, but they will push out new shoots just on their own. And there's lots of activity happening down below with new branches coming out and propagating with no help from me. Now, this bathroom does get significant indirect light. There's a large window here, although the shade is always drawn because it is the bathroom. We've got the frosted glass on the door as well. The room also has 2 skylights. So lots of indirect light. Another one of my begonias in pots that I reset about 18 months ago is in the family room. I took a slightly different approach on this one with a few very long shoots with several nodes each. And I put in a shorter multi-node piece or 2 as well. And there was a single node piece in that mix. And this is what it looks like today, 18 months later. Similar to the begonia in the bathroom, this one has doubled the number of shoots that are coming out of it with another new shoot that just recently popped up here. It's pushed out many new leaves on all of the shoots, and the shoots have grown considerably in size, with the tallest one being about 4 feet. And with the extra height of the pot there, this thing is over 6 feet tall. I'm 6'2", and it goes over my head. This one gets indirect light all day from large windows that face the southwest, all healthy, leaves everywhere, and looking really good. I want to cover one other plant as well. This was when I did all of the previous propagation. This is what I called the leftover piece. I had started with an angel wing begonia that had really filled out the pot that it was in, and there were way too many shoots coming out of it, and it just needed to be reset. So I took it out. I took all the cuttings that I needed for all of the repotting, And for all the experiments that I did, and I was left with this hunk of the root ball and a bunch of shoots that had really what I thought nothing left to give. And I took that chunk and threw it out into the side yard just on the top of the ground, and there it sat. And I realized that after a few weeks that the plant was actually still growing. Even though I wasn't watering it, even though the root ball was exposed, the shoots that were left started pushing out new leaves. And I thought, man, what a sad way to go. Let me see. I can do some things with what's left here. Let's see what we can do. So I cut it into 2 different chunks, planted them both in the ground outside because this was earlier in the summer. And the plants both grew well in the ground in the warmer weather. One of them I left outside just to see how it would handle the winter. And as expected, it didn't handle the winter very well. It did die off. I was hoping that it would grow back if I was able to keep the roots alive, but I got no grow back at all, and that piece did not make it. Now, the other piece that I had in the ground, I dug up before we got to freezing temperatures, and I put that one in the house. Here's what this one looks like today. It continues to flourish on the inside. It's put on many new leaves, and the shoots continue to grow taller. The tallest shoot here is about 4 feet as well. It's also in the middle of flowering and has a few different bunches of flowers. So this all goes to show just how easy it is to propagate these plants. They're very resilient, and you don't even have to be all that careful in how you handle them. Obviously, handling them with care is going to be better and produce even better results, but just understand they're very forgiving. Now let's talk about new propagations. First, you want to pick a shoot or shoots that you want to cut. If you've got some damage on a shoot, this is a good one to pick because the leaves can be damaged. As long as the shoot is green, it will propagate well and give you good new shoots that will grow new leaves. Get a cutting instrument. The sharper the better, as it will do less damage to the cuttings. You're really trying to avoid as much as possible crushing the plant. You want clean cuts if you can get them. Make sure your cutting instrument is clean. Cut the shoot off close to the ground, but leave at least 1 node on the shoot. The plant will continue to grow after you cut it from that node. You can see here another one that was cut previously and how that new growth came off of the side of the node. So leave 1 node on the top of the shoot that you're cutting, and that will also continue to grow. Cut the shoot into as many pieces as you can, ensuring that each piece has 1 node. I typically cut them roughly in the center between nodes. From what I've experienced, you do not need to be exact here. You don't have to try and measure, just eyeball roughly the center and cut it. You can use root hormone if you want to, although I've never done that with angel wing begonias. If you do use rooting hormone, apply it around the node because that's where the roots are going to grow from. For dirt, I'm just using dirt that I dug out of my yard. It's got a bit of organic material in here, dead leaves, old cedar needles, that kind of thing, piece of bark or 2. I've added about 10% perlite to that. If you don't have good soil that you can just dig out of your yard, any potting mix with a little bit of perlite added to it will do fine. When you place the pieces in the dirt, you want to bury the piece so the node sinks just below the soil. If you have some smaller pieces like this one, you can just bury the whole piece. I typically leave the leaves attached when I'm propagating pieces like this, just so there's a little bit more green, but you can take them off if you desire. You can put the cuttings in water if you want to and allow them to start growing that way. I've had such good luck with direct to dirt propagation of the angel wing begonia. I always just go straight to the dirt, and this is going to save you time later on because you're not going to have to put them in pots later after they start growing. They're already going to be there. Put the pot or pots in indirect light. You can put them in pretty dark areas if you want to, but know that those will take a little bit longer to grow and they won't grow as big if they have no good indirect light. Water these every other day, making sure you keep the soil damp but not completely soaked. It's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks before you see new growth. Once a leaf is out, go ahead and switch to watering them once a week. In one of the experimental videos that I did, I had a few comments that I wanted to address related to propagation. I'm going to kick off another experiment here, testing a few other propagation techniques. One of the commenters said that they regularly propagate begonias with no nodes directly in water, so I want to give that a go. I'm going to set up a control, so I've got a few with nodes that will be in the same container as cuttings without nodes. Personally, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'll place this on the kitchen counter where we'll get good indirect light and be shielded from direct light by the pot next to it here. I also had someone comment on leaf cuttings being used to successfully propagate new plants. I don't know why this would work, but I'm going to give this a try as well. I'm taking a few of the leaves from the existing plants and cutting them up to various sizes. These will go into a second cup of water, and we'll see if these grow anything at all. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the palm tree to see future updates. If you missed my earlier angel wing begonia propagation experiments, click on the link to see the results of that experiment. Thanks and happy growing.